Hello, Victor.
Hi,
How are you?
fine. Looking forward to this. The most
Great.
expected moment of the quarter, probably.
Awesome. So, off we go with our second talk. Just as before, drop your questions in Slack. We are going to make sure to address them later on. And now I would ask everyone to invite Victor, our next speaker. So yeah, Victor, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much. All right, let's set up a bit of the environment over here, and we're good to go. Good. So, wow, challenging. Speaking after Kevin, oh my God. After so many people that I so much respect and they have basically shaped my career. So let's try this one. My name is Victor Rentea. I'm from Romania, and I've been coding in Java for quite a while. What I'm doing these days is, however, workshops and trainings in different companies, talking about the three things that basically, craftsmanship, basically clean code, unit testing, and architecture, simple design, right? Frameworks, and the hardcore stuff, right? This is what I do in different companies every day, basically, right? Every single day I get to talk to different teams. And I have the enormous honor to speak to very smart people from many companies. And I get to learn a lot from them. I get to see the ideas in practice. I get to see their pain points. I'm in a very favorable situation that I'm exposed to a lot of ideas. Okay. And I'm also doing, as today, talks, and I have also a community of mine that has grown into a remarkable size. It's called Bucharest Software Crafters Community. It's like 5,000 members, and I would like to invite you all watching this to join. If it's loading, still loading. 5,000 members, one of the biggest software craftsmanship communities in the world. And what's this all about? 1 hour per month, we have discussions and followed by heated debates. The last one was vertical slicing architectures, for example. Right? And I'm going to do this for several years already, right? Engaging with people throughout the world. Right? And I also have a YouTube channel on which you can find the stuff that we did on the community. So it was all recorded for a while already. All right, that's me. Now, again, I'm super honored to be talking next to people like, I don't know, Uncle Bob, like Kent Beck, like, these are my idols, right? So, let's get started. This talk will be much more hands-on, much more applicative, and less philosophical than the one before. So, here it is. You got your driver license, and you have a car. And I want you to think of the first day you drove without your instructor next to you. You were alone in the car, in the traffic, right? Trying to take a turn to the left, perhaps. And just in case it was your first day driving, you took with you two t-shirts and one pair of pants, of brown pants, just in case. And then you had to turn left. What is he talking? I'm talking about you got a job, congratulations. You got a tool, congratulations. Now, go ahead, go in legacy, turn left, right? How the heck could you turn left in such a intersection, right? You would just blow up because you don't even know the car, and suddenly you have to navigate huge amount of code and understand what goes on in there. Well, this is you in the first several months of driving. This is you after 10 years. Absolutely no problem, probably in traffic stuck, but there are no mysteries anymore about the car itself. You are now able to focus more on the road, on the paths to take, on the dangers in the traffic than on the actual car, because you know your stuff. Abraham Lincoln. If I had 6 hours to chop down the tree, I'd spend first 4 hours sharpening the axe. So this is what we'll do here today, my friends. This hour, we will learn the tool. Why? Not to be faster necessarily, but to be able to drive with the focus on what matters, the design, the principles, the responsibilities, the layers, the architecture, and not on the quirks of the code. You want to develop reflexes about writing code so that you can move faster and more efficient with focus on what matters. Mortal Kombat. Do you know the shortcuts in your editor? Why do they matter, you ask? Are they critical? They are just neurological reflexes you need to develop to move fast and be less distracted of the details of your daily work so that, again, you can focus on what matters. So you need to develop these. You need to train your reflexes for production work. Okay. And with that, let's dive in. So how will we do this? We have in the right side here a list of features that I want to demonstrate. By the way, just to be very clear at the beginning, all the features I will demonstrate are available in the free edition. I mean, it's not a pitch. I'm not trying to sell anything. I don't have any commercial relationship to JetBrains, but I will demonstrate the most powerful refactoring and editor on the planet, which is IntelliJ. Right? There is no other editor even matching. Visual Code with a lot of plugins gets like 70%. Visual Studio is a joke. Eclipse or Eclipse. So really, I was in Eclipse 13 years when I saw what IntelliJ can do. I never looked back. So I will demonstrate these features here. You can find some of the features in other products. What matters, however, is not the actual. It matters the idea behind, right? What do you want? How would I want to write code? So let's get started. Look. The first thing that most people do when they want, for example, to get the first name of the person, they will start typing person.get. Just a second. Get first name. But what is that? Get first name. Get first name. That's out of typing. Don't ever do that, please. I beg you. Just type what you want. First name, right? First name. Just first name. Never ever type get in your life. I beg you, right? First name. The next thing you can do is actually type what you read, the first words, the first letters of the words you need. Right? First, it gets the point anyway. Boom. The second thing that you can do, you can type even more lazy. Person.first name. Few people know that you can type this. Just over the dot completion, I call it. You don't have to type all the paths. Just person.first name. Done. It gets the point. Right? So this is probably you've discovered some of these already. Then the other stuff that's super cool is that when you have to generate some boilerplate code, like a getter for a new field, for example, or a toString. I know that you all did generate and then do stuff, but you can just type toString, and without taking your hands off the keyboard, you get the stuff done like that, right? So boilerplate generation, and I will mark as we progress the stuff that we do with a flag. But you won't see the flag because it's, let's switch to this. Okay, good enough. Again, F2, F3, there you go. Okay. As we progress, I want to keep track of where I am, right? So maybe better to be able to go in the full screen mode. Maybe let's put this line and I will move the line up and down. That's better. Good. Let's enter Zen mode again. Good. So type-aware snake completion, what is that? Auto-completion is our daily bread. This is what we eat every day. Auto-completion, this is how we write 90% of the code. But there is this thing, look, if you want to introduce a person, you might need to get the first name out of the person. You know how to do that, person.first name already. And then you have to get the marital status from the person. You could go ahead and say person.marital status. You already figured out what you want to write. But you can do even better than this. Look, right here where you are, IntelliJ knows that you want to get a marital status. Control-Shift-Space gets you all the possibilities. Only those that can apply here. Notice that there are only those that return something that is compatible to this stuff that you expect. If you just press Control-Space, there are a lot of other. Why would I ever need a stack trace element? Why would I ever do that? So, Control-Shift-Space. Okay. And then you do this. By the way, you will see the shortcuts are here, so I will not speak out the shortcut. You can check out there at the top. The trick is that if you do this, you can restrict your suggestions to what are compatible to the thing you need here. If you repeat Control-Shift-Space one more time, you get this back. What the heck is that? It's called snake completion. It's allowed to traverse the objects available in your hand to somewhere where it can get you a marital status from. Done. Okay. Type-aware snake completion. It's just Control-Shift-Space, like we saw at the beginning. Next thing that I really love, that I use every single day, like hundreds of times. I'm doing workshops every day, and I'm doing a lot of live coding. And to keep people engaged, I have to move fast as hell. So it's very natural. If you want to print out the person first name, for example, person first name, to get the stuff that you want to print and then S out. Boom. What the heck is that? You just type S out at the end and it turn at the beginning. What the heck is that? Or return. You can do a lot of stuff with it. You type at the end something, you traverse the mental graph. The mental mind is like this. You traverse the graph of object, ... You get to the thing you want, and then boom, S out. Or person dot get addresses 4. Boom, I love this. Some would say, do you still use 4? And there are more that can work, like, hey, if this is not empty, then if. And something that many people know already, that you can, for example, do like some string and then return. Boom. There are some live, so this is called postfix completion. The fun thing is that you can create your own. I won't get into details of how exactly today, but for example, if I do person first name log, this is not standard, this is mine, right? It expands into what usually we write, right? And then Lombard. By the way, this is my own little plugin doing this suggestion. But the point is, you can think of the stuff you want to get and then think of what to do with it. This is the train of thoughts, right? Then live templates. Oh, this is again very, 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 very fun. For example, if you want to write the logger, this is not a standard one. If I press this, it expands into a standard logger, just like SLF4j would do. That would it's a live template, but that takes into account the class in which I am. If I were in a different class, and if I would do the same thing, it would expand to a different. So it's live template with parameters with contextual parameters. Again, Google more if you want to know how you define one of these. Just features that you can use, right? Okay, good. And then this one is very fun. Tab completion. What if you changed your mind? You don't want to pass the first name. Although to introduce someone, I would like to hear someone, hey, this is Victor. No, this is Rentea. But still, if you change your mind, get last name. And if you now press enter, your flow is out the window. Brain is dying at this point. Because you have to do what? You have to start doing secretary, like backspace. What the heck is that? That's a brain, that's damage to your brain flow. You were thinking about something. Then you have to shift gears and start editing the code like a monkey. Very bad. So instead, press tab. Again. Tab. Next one. Again, completion. Stuff that you use every day, every single day. You want to get some utility function. Maybe current time midis. Right? If you press Control Space twice, you get suggestions for statics, wherever they come from. You can have your utility some over there, and you can just call the function as you want. You know, Java is not the best language in the world. There are others that have extension functions, for example, right? An extension function is a very powerful language construct. The best match to that is this. You can just Control Space twice, find the function you want, and pass the object, the static function you want, and pass the object to it. So Control Space twice. That's fun. Another example. Now, Control Space. Okay, these are probably too many options, but yeah, this. Okay. Good. Now, wrapping things. What do I mean by that? I mean that very often you start typing a syntax construct. If person dot, I don't know, first name is not null, exactly in this moment, notice I did not put the spaces in here. Now, I'm super maniac about clean code. This is my main. I would argue, hey, they're missing a space, you know? I don't want the code to be neglected in any possible way. So if you are just pouring your ideas on the paper, you don't stop. You press Control Shift Enter. What the heck is that? It's a very fun shortcut I heard of from one of the leads in JetBrains. He emailed me, hey, Victor, did you know about this? Oh, no, thank you. Good. So the thing is, Control Shift Enter. It finishes the stuff you are about you were trying to write, finishing the ifs, and pay attention. It put the spaces here and here and here. It's peace and harmony, and your cursor is in the perfect position to write continuing your idea. Control Shift Enter. Why does this matter, folks? What does this matter? Some would say, this is silly things. If you master this, you will see the big picture. You will be able to reason more about the design, not the quirks. You focus on what matters. See the big picture, right? This is how you grow, basically, right? Mastering these, converting these efforts into reflexes, basically. You will write a new method, for example. Look, a void, I don't know, a void, a new method, Control Shift Enter, done, right? Every single time. And also very, very, very powerful, mind-blowing. When I first saw this, I was like, wow, let me show you. I am the person, perhaps this phone is nullable in database, can be null, right? If this is nullable in database, then it's a good practice, brutal, but good. Let me just undo this for a second, get phone. Look, this is how we generate the getter, by the way. It's a good practice that you found, that if you found that phone is nullable in database. Can I just show you one more trick? Because there is too much code between what I want to focus here and what I was looking at the top. You know what you can do? You can just take from here up to here and compress it like this, fold it. And let me see the picture. Phone. This is very good for navigating legacy or unknown code. You can just fold stuff random just to see what you want to get things closer to each other, right? So phone and phone. Okay. Now, on this getter over here, I will just start typing optional, and then, boom, Control-Shift-Enter again. And then this thing turns red. Of course, you saw what happened, right? It wrapped it into generics. But then this thing turned red. What do I do about that? Well, there is a technique that only the seniors know. It's called Alt-Enter development. When it's red, yellow, blue, or gray, Alt-Enter will save your day. I wrote a poem. I wrote a poem about Alt-Enter. It's a way to think. I'm not kidding. A true experienced developer, someone who wrote hundreds of thousands of lines of code, knows how to approach problems so that with the least effort, it uses most the editor. So knowing that I have to fix this, I will never start writing stuff. I will just immediately press Alt-Enter. Right? Wrap using optional, done. I don't need to think. The first reflex, Alt-Enter, and then you reason, what do I need from those options? Right? Good. So this is it. Optional off. I wanted to show you this. And also, look, I can do it in another way. Let's do it again. I can go here and say optional of nullable. I wrote the start of the static method in optional. I will control space twice, and now Control Shift Enter. Boom. It wraps the next token into a method call. This is mind-blowing. This is absolutely mind-blowing. It's so useful. And then Alt-Enter adapt the signature to return optional. You're done. Both ways. Again, the same thing I use, Control Shift Enter to finish my thought, to finish my syntax, right? This is very cool. So probably this becomes slowly one of the most used shortcuts that I use enormously. I mean, every time I want to finish something, if you start writing some code, Java is an old language. Back in '95, they thought semicolon was a good idea, right? So maybe you are in the middle of writing this, like this new customer, and then you want to finish the whole thing. Don't press enter. No, press Control Shift Enter. It finishes. It puts this and it reformats the syntax block, the syntax element that you were editing. So perhaps you poured the bad things here, like this, and you said new customer. Boom, done. Right? It gets your I'm also finish my statement by Control Shift Enter just to format and put the semicolon, right? So Java's weakness of semicolon is just gone away, right? Can I do a joke here? Can I say? It's a wink. Okay, to round with, let's see the next one. Perhaps you want to put this block in a condition. I think you know this. It's round with if. Somehow I find this is known already for many. If you spend the least amount of time to investigate a bit what the editor can do, you found this. You just set a block and you wrap it in something. And the things I use most are ifs and tries, right? I will wrap stuff in some condition or I wrap stuff in some try. This is very, very useful for day-to-day practice. Good. Although, to be honest, to ask the honest question, do you ever try catch stuff? Why? Not today, but why? What do you do in the catch block? Life is life. Embrace selection. This is also very fun. Imagine you wrote some JSON. Does it work? Yeah, let's go to some non-structured, less structured thing like JavaScript or something. And you had some JSON. Do I have a JSON over here? No, I haven't. No, I will just demonstrate in Java then. Look, if I have a string and it contains some tokens, and I want to, inside of that string, to wrap these tokens in one of these symbols, I can just type the open brace. Let me show you. Open brace, and you see this, the last one gets automatically completed. Or open square bracket. Anything, I type just a single character, it wraps the whole thing. It's useful in maybe non-structured languages. You can do like this, whatever. You can basically you embrace some selection into into a pair of tokens like this. Okay, cool. Now the fun ones are just starting to get. We were just look this one. This one actually convinced me to give up Eclipse. It goes like this. If you are editing some code, and here is a good example, in a place in which you can't just use any smart refactoring. I want to convert a set of constants into an enum, right? Like we do. So what I can do, I can select the part of the code which is repeated on all the three fields, and I can press Ctrl G. It's called multi-cursor. Based on the token I selected, it selects the token everywhere in this file. Okay, progressively. I can skip, I can read more about it. But the fun thing is that now I have 3 cursors. Oh my God, 3 cursors. This implies, of course, 3 times the salary, of course. But the fun thing with the cursors is that you can move them at the end. How cool is that? Done. Okay, it might be you're not convinced, but this works as like a charm in places like this, like when you want to change, for example, the way you reference the name, what teacher. Perhaps it's now a professor. You can replace the teacher token carefully everywhere. Teacher, teacher, teacher. From the top again, teacher, 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 teacher. You can skip some of them, teacher, teacher, teacher. Once you selected them all, you can just type professor. Oh my God. Everywhere. It works perfectly in non-structured or when you have the same token repeated. Mind that it's not a refactoring, it's just code editing, massive code editing. And there are many tools that have this besides IntelliJ. Right. Good. That's wonderful. And there are other ways to do this. Alt drag, for example. I was told about this when I was presenting this in the other day. So look, if you have like a feature, like that thing that you write with your business in deep harmony, like you elaborate what the system should do, you can just click Alt and drag, and you have multiple cursors. Right? This works in files that are, like, say, tabbed, like columns. You see, like columns. Right? And you can then move the cursor as before as you want. Right? Cool. So, and then you can also Alt Shift and click wherever you want in 3 places, here and here and here, everywhere. Right? This is fun. This is fun for editing massively with less effort, but mind that this is not a refactoring that can cause bugs like, right. Good. Now we get to the one that I measured to be the most used. I used this the most. This one. It's surprising. I didn't expect it. I use it so much. If I'm ever in some code, let's go to some worse code here. If I'm in some code lost in there in some legacy or some unknown code, and if I want to just look at this madness and see and ask, what can I extract out of it? What can I do? What can I if it's a real problem, if it's a real project, it could be like this, deep inside. Let's see if I can match the name. If I'm here, how the heck do I know where I am? It's very, very complicated in large, or also in lambdas. I want to show you one more example from two days ago. And I think you will all understand what I was teaching back then. Look, you are here. Just so beautiful. Lambda, lambda, lambda. 3, 2, 1. Lambda in lambda in lambda. So if I'm here, what exactly happens, or here, before me? If you just click anywhere in the syntax, IntelliJ can select you larger and larger blocks of syntax. This is mind-blowing. This is so cool. What does that help you to? It helps you maybe to try to extract this out in a function. I mean, lambda in lambda in lambda, that definitely calls for a face-to-face code review. I'm here for the code review. So the thing is here, I want to expand the selection to the larger and larger syntax blocks. Like, so what does IntelliJ do? It uses abstract syntax tree behind to construct the language syntax basically behind, and you can increase the node that you selected larger and larger and larger. This is extremely good to understand stuff or to tentatively. I call this like shotgun refactoring, trying to get some stuff out in the method. You just select some larger and larger block of code, and you try to extract this out. Of course, this is stupid. You have to get a name for that, right? You have to understand what this does. That's why there are only two things hard in programming. Two things hard in programming. The first thing is cache invalidation, and you all know the pleasure. Cache or eventual consistency. We should update that quote. Eventual consistency. This is what scares adults. Consistency. And the second one is naming things. How would I name this thing? I don't know. I don't have a clue, because you don't know what it does. But when you enter some brutal legacy code, right? I mean, let's be honest. Who actually needs software craftspersons? Everyone, right? Those in the most need of us are the ones that have the successful products. Have you ever heard of the successful monolith? Some people call it big ball of mud. They need us to work with terrible, complicated code, right? This is why they will ever hire a craftsperson, right? So then this is why you actually need you. So we will be thrown in code like this, and you want to be able to orient yourself as fast as you can. So by increasing the selection up and down, and it works in any structured language, including even JavaScript or HTML, grows larger and larger. This can help you enormously with this one. Expect contract selection. Right? Good. And then the king. Oh my God, the king. Alt-Enter. This is let's say probably the tool, the most powerful tool that you are not using enough. The most powerful tool that you are not using enough. Let's go back to the Boolean logic thing. Look here, I. I is defined here and used only here. It's never used outside of this if, you know. So I could define it closer to where it's used. Of course, the IntelliJ knows this. Hey, move declaration of I closer to usages. What am I saying here? Do you see the little underline behind below it? Yeah? That's where IntelliJ, one inspection of IntelliJ is trying to tell us about something. We can move it down. Here, this also. And here, this also. And then K is not used, kill. And then result. The result can happen earlier in the chain. Where exactly? I don't exactly see very clearly. I'm tired, I don't know exactly where. Alt-Enter. Move return closer, boom, here. So what does that mean? It means that IntelliJ constantly inspects your syntax tree and looks for places that to optimize, right? So it will suggest improvements, obvious improvements, but like delete dead code, like move variable closer to where it's used, right? But then look, also it's super useful in TDD. If you're doing test-driven development and if you are calling a method that doesn't yet exist, like person dot some new method, it's very good to start designing methods from the outside in, right? To see the context first. What do I have to pass in? This integer, and then the following string. You do that, and then this is the red, of course. Alt-Enter, create method, done. Right? You just have to name the thing, right? You know that. So basically, you go like write this thing that should exist, doesn't exist yet. Alt-Enter, done. Right? This is how I create 95% of my methods when I work, because it's much easier to start with the need than to think about the implementation. This is basically TDD, starting from the contract, from the tests. Right? Good. Now, the fun thing that few people know, and I want to show you just this. This is mind-blowing. And I'm so sorry this inspection is not activated by default. Just look at this. Pause for 5 seconds for you to read it. List equals rental, customer rentals. Get the days rented, put it in the list. 3, 2, 1. It's drag. You get the point. This can be a flat map, a collect, a stream map collect. But the good thing is that IntelliJ knows this himself. Alt-Enter, replace with collect. Boom! Done. Map, characteristic. Nice. No, nothing more. But then, you know what's super fun and a bit scary at the same time? This option, run inspection on the whole project. That's the only place. But if there were many, you could just take all of them and replace with collect. Boom! Everywhere. So folks, there are two things that you have to understand. These two in combination. What I've shown you is just 5 or 6 such inspections. There are more than 500. And 90% of them are disabled. Here. The blue ones are changed. I've changed them to enable more, much more than the default. What happened really? I'll tell you the whole story. I was trying to implement a suggestion myself in my little plugin in IntelliJ. And I was playing with their syntax tree, of course, like exploring a bit. And I had this idea to implement. I almost implemented the whole feature. And then one day, I found these. And I spent like 2 hours reading every single one of them. Every single one of them. And I realized that after 16 years of Java, I don't know Java. These folks over here captured all the imaginable opinion someone could have about the code. Someone. The good opinions, the bad opinions, because you will have both. But there are all the opinions. This is the best way to learn Java, in my opinion. Read all of these. And then enable the ones that suit you, that you like. That's what I did. And I created a little sheet for myself. It's called aggressive refactoring. If you want to download it yourself, you can go to my website. Right? And here's somewhere about the talks. I can here. Aggressive. Here. It's an XML you can download. You can import in your IntelliJ and unleash hell about your code. Why? Because you will have a lot more inspections, more aggressive suggestions from IntelliJ. But just enabling some stuff. Be aware, this is just my opinion. It is not created by anyone else. I'm just through the stuff that I like about the code. You might like different. My advice, go through these and enable the one that you need. And very important, if you find yourself fixing the same obvious thing manually in different parts of a legacy project, the first thing to go to, please go here, run a random search. How do I add the final word to some variables? Let's see. A synchronization. Oh my God. Finally. And you spend 1 hour and you might find something that, look, final method in a final class. What's that? Report final. Look, for example, okay, that's pretty stupid to write in the first place. But this, for example, I personally, this is my personal opinion. I know many people that will disagree with me. I do not like final here. This is just my personal taste. What I did, I enabled this inspection. And now everywhere in the project, if I see if final is there, it will turn yellow. And what next? I can then Alt-Enter, replace, run the inspection on the whole project and clean the whole project at once. Would I do that without tests behind? I don't know. But it's definitely very battle-proven and unit tested. There are hundreds and hundreds of unit tests behind such refactorings. So, if you have some typical issue you fix, search for an inspection in a legacy code, search for an inspection targeting that, and then run the inspection on the whole project. Right? It's very often the case to find one. Right? Good. Now, we also show this stream versus for. Oh, now about writing the streams, also fun. Look, if I want to just type the list of integer list, and I will just want to produce it, customer dot, let's use all the stuff we know, right? Customer rentals. Please never ever type stream again in your life. Filter. It's useless garbage. Actually, Java in this case is not very smart. Many other languages don't need this. There are natural JavaScript, TypeScript, Kotlin, Scala, C. They don't need this. The collections have already these operators on it. Java doesn't. So don't ever type stream again. Basically, the editor fixes the problem in the language. In practice, it fixes it. You don't ever have to type it again. You type already the stuff that you want to do afterwards, right? Let it complete that automatically, right? And then if you want to map and get the days rented, please never start saying rental dot. No, days rented. Done. Right? Speak more. And then at the end, of course, scroll it to list, CTL, or to list, or whatever you have, if you have Java 11, to list. Done. Good. Nice. Now, let's talk about surviving legacy. Let's talk about tricks that you can use to read code faster, to assimilate code faster, and to orient yourself better. One thing that I love to do very often is to have a sneak peek under a certain method. But suppose there is some weird logic in here, right? Weird logic. When I will look at this method over here, I don't want to hop back and forth to that file. But instead, I want to just have a short look, a preview. This is absolutely brilliant. This. Option space or Control Shift I. You don't have to open a new tab and then to go back. It confuses your brain, this movement. The background, 90% of the screen remains the same. Just a new thing appears here. Your brain is not distracted. You're just having looking through a hole where I'm literally looking through a hole in that thing, and then sneak peek. Very, very, very good. And you can do that for also library code, like current time millis. Current time millis. Why would you ever look into that? I don't know. Interesting. Not a good example. Okay, but you get the point. You can have a sneak peek of what's inside. Good. Current parameter. This is fun. If you forgot what this meant, actually I have a bug in here. Look, I will show you. I will find the bug by pressing Control P. Current parameter displays me the type and the name of the parameter that I am on. If I move, it changes. And then I have a bug. This is not, I'm passing last name as a first name. Bad. First name, please. And then tab. Good. Okay, so current parameter. Also very, very useful in reactive or extreme functional programming to be able to ask IntelliJ to tell you what type does this exception, does this expression up to here have. And now you can, if you remember, you can select the expression very easy, like this. But I'm curious, what does this map return me? I can easily track down where the map ends, but what does it return? You can just press Control Shift P. You can ask IntelliJ, hey, that's a mono ABC. Or if you are, let's say, somewhere here, what does this return? I forgot. Ask the type of the thing. Very powerful. Put your cursor where you are interested to find out what that is, and ask IntelliJ, hey, this is mono ABC, but here this is ABC, or here. Right? It's very, 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 very useful in reading functional programming code. Okay, one more trick about functional programming. Did you know that if you press down Control, you can hover this and get the actual Lambda interface that you are implementing? It's a function, right? Yeah, that's very, 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 very useful. At least at the beginning of your career. This is This is a beef function, right? So just hovering, if you click, you can go there. Very fun. Also helpful. Good. But nothing, I think, beats this. In legacy code, I owe my life to this. My life and the money of my boss, because I did not do many bugs because of this. This helped me avoid a lot of bugs. How? Imagine you are in some... Do I have an example prepared for that, or should I build one? Let me see, IntelliJ play. Yeah, you are, let's say, in introduce, and this code is in another function, in deeper, and deeper, deep function. And you are over here, and you wonder who exactly calls you, right? If you ever think of this, if you ever ask the question, how do I ever get to run this, right? What you can do, and by the way, let me make things a bit more complicated. First of all, what is this naming convention? And even deeper, right? And I will just move one of these classes outside into another service. I want to make more noise about this. Let's see if I'm able to do that. Make more private. This is private. That's a problem. Damn it. Come on, private. Good. and another service calls me back into this. Good. Marital status was public. Good. I broke it. I broke it completely this time. Let's give it one more chance. One more chance. Anything bad? Success. Amazing. Now, intelligent play over here. How do I ever get here? I might forget. How do I ever get to call this? What I can do? Call hierarchy. This one saved my life. What does it do? It tells you, you get here, my friend, by coming from this method in this class. And then that one is called by these two fellows. And then that one is called from this. You can traverse the graph, the tree of calls to get to this place. Very helpful. This is how we can find out if this test is ever captured in any unit test. If something is green here, you will see unit test. This is how you can see the impacted endpoints or message listeners that you can break if you change it. Analyzing impact, basically. This is what I'm talking about. All right. But that might not be so. You might know this already. So, call hierarchy. Also very fun. Seeing the recent files. Now, as you can see over here, if you look very careful at my screen right now, you won't see any tabs. Where are my tabs? There aren't. I can press Control Tab to navigate through them, but more interesting is to press Control E. Actually, it's Command E in my case. To actually say the file that I want. You can go to the full screen and not have the tabs. The tabs actually not help us much in the end. They don't help much because any craft person has at least 100 tabs open after 2 hours of work. So you will just, yeah, right? And when you jump through a lot of code, it doesn't help much that. I mean, instead you just want to, Command D, type the stuff that you want to, at another service. Just go there immediately. You don't have to click. Who the heck clicks tabs anymore, right? Good. Original files. And then also very fun to see the places that you've changed, that you've went through recently. The snippets of places you've been through or places you've changed. If you press again. Snippets, just the several lines that will bring back memories about what you were doing in there. Bookmark, collapse fold, we discussed that. Let's go to refactoring. Only 10 minutes, less than 10 minutes left, so let's try that. Refactoring. Okay, let's see. Introduce parameter. Let's start with that. So how would I ever introduce a new parameter to a method? Let's see. Perhaps you have this method and you are calling from different places. There are two ways to introduce a new parameter. You can introduce a parameter from inside the method or from outside. What do I mean? If from a caller place you want to pass one more argument, you can just type the argument, Alt Enter, add this as the third parameter. Boom. You can put the default to say what the others will give you. And your parameter went in, right? From outside in the function. The other way to add the parameter is from inside. For example, you decide you want here to get not worked weeks, let's see, plus holiday weeks. I don't know, something. This thing is not yet here, so I can Alt Enter, create parameter, and then define this to come as default 0 from inside out, right? You have to understand method as a bubble, and you can change the surface from outside or from the inside, right? With Alt Enter, nothing more. Good, fun. But IntelliJ can do something mind-blowing. It's called introduce parameter. For example, there are some countries in the world in which you work six days a week. So this might not apply for every situation. In that case, you can just take this expression and pull it out of the bubble into the caller. This is when I first saw this, I was absolutely shocked. What? I take this from here and I will push it here and here. But it's called introduce parameter. Let me show you. Boom. Like work days. Boom. It's pushed in the client, and like the client can decide to pass here a 6 another situation. Right? Boom, pushing out. Yeah. Fun. But imagine that this formula has to be randomly, arbitrarily given. What would that mean? I don't want just to introduce a parameter, but I want to introduce a lambda. A lambda. Introduce functional parameter. Boom. It's a supplier. Is it a supplier? No. Is it a supplier? Strange. Let's take this part. Let's see. Control T. Introduce functional parameter. A function. What does it take as an argument? Let's see. Function refactoring. Function applied or on days. So what does it take as an argument? This function is now in the caller, and it says given days, I will apply it. But why is it a 4? Developers are 4. Something is not fun. Something is not fun. As you can see, this is not entirely battle proven. In practice, this one, it's cool. It's cool, but in practice, when you introduce a lambda as an argument, when you take a function as an argument, you don't take things that easily usually. You polish it again. So that in practice is not so used, to be honest. The next one, however, is super used. When you find there are two things that move together, for example, weeks and depths, there might be propagating together through many methods in your code. You can just group them together like a parameter object. Like project work, for example, random name for now. Create a new class, and you can just what IntelliJ will do will group the two arguments. Look again, right? In a record. Oh my god, the record. Oh my god, the record. Oh my god, the record. Yes, thank you. And that record over here will be weeks and days, right? Weeks and days. Sorry, instantiated in the client side. Done. Right? Done. And then you can use it in other places as well, right? So it will just extract don't do this too eagerly though. You can over-engineer things if you do this too eagerly. The thing that you extract should have a sound, clear name, should enrich the domain language, be part of the ubiquitous language, should have a meaning. Not just a random name you find one evening. No, should match and should be reused a lot to make sense. I'm talking about classic refactoring moves, right? Introduce parameter object. That's from the Fowler book. Good. Next one is fun. Methods. You want to extract a method. That's probably along with rename. Extracting method is the most important refactoring tool on planet. Right? This is the start of all the big good ideas. Extracting methods. And if you happen to extract this chunk of code over here, let's look at it. N plus y. Okay. Send message. True. Throw illegal. Throw. And then this. Okay. Good. If you extract this part, the IntelliJ will see, hey, you know what? That thing is also present in the other part. I mean, that's what you thought, isn't it? With a fast look through it, we checked 4, 4, yes, 0, 0. But there is a very slight difference between the two. Time is pressing, so I want to let you to just look at here. Hey, please welcome the bug. Thank you. So now, when IntelliJ sees that you try to extract a syntax like this, it will tell you, hey, you know what? The syntax you're trying to extract is almost identical to the other one, with one difference. This is not the same. And this, when you ever see this dialog, this is what it means. It partially matched the syntax tree to the other thing in the same class. And it said, hey, you know what? It's a bit different. Can I take one more argument, please? That would allow me to match both places like this. One will pass this, one will pass this. If you ever see that dialog, this is what it means, right? It partially matches syntax, basically. Do I have time for more? Let's see. Yeah, some of them are really fun. Just 1 second to just this. This I find it very useful whenever I'm teaching domain-driven design. This is something I do very, very commonly. I find some code like this sitting in some place in the code. And I look at it and I say, hey, you know what? This business rule is just working on the state of the customer. So that's a code smell over here. It's called feature envy. And from an object-oriented perspective, that should move into the customer object. And I can do that with a combo of two moves. Extract and convert to instance. Let me show you. Extract method, get discount percentage. Click the method, move to instance. Convert to instance. Thank you. And IntelliJ will ask you, do you want to push it in the customer profile? Like, oh, wow, how did you know? Stupid, I saw you took this as an argument. I can move this behavior in the argument. Public done. And then, ta-da, object-oriented programming. Amazing. Behavior next to state. If you want to do that, that's an option. Very fast. Two moves, one after the other. I think I'm done with this. I just want to show that you can extract an inline interfaces. I'll just tell you. You can those are really important. You can generate getters and setters out of public fields very fast. Back to slides, 2 more ideas, and we're done. We are done. Why? Why? Also fun. Also fun. This. If you want to become a shortcuts ninja, install Key Promoter X plugin. Practice everything you saw today, me doing. Practice it, doing it. Do the stuff I did 5 times. Get your inspections list from my site, and if you want any house training, here I am. And join my community. Join my community. Join my community. That's super fun. Very hot debates. All right. Good. And now the slides, and I'm done in 30 seconds. Why do you want to master your IDE? Because not only you want to finish the task faster, no. You want to see the big picture again, not on the nasty details. Thank you. Good. Thank you, John. And explore more alternative design to find the simplest one. I don't feel sorry to undo and revert. If you invested hours to get somewhere, you will feel sorry to revert. But reverting, undoing is the way to go, is the way to learn, right? So I think with that, I am done. Thank you so much for spending your time with me here in this amazing conference. Yes.
Thank you so much, Victor. It was really entertaining talk. I learned at least a few, although I use IntelliJ on my daily basis, and I couldn't really promote it more. There are questions maybe you would like to answer. One in particular is very interesting. I'm curious about your opinion. What would you say are the 3 main reasons for a company to switch from NetBeans to IntelliJ for Java development that justifies the investment? Oh, sorry.
Who says anything about investment? I did not.
Well, the question is, does it justify the investment to switch?
Investment, I hope not. I hope we're not thinking about licenses, because licenses we don't cost you anything. What I saw, what I showed you is just free stuff, community stuff, right? And with Spring Boot development, you can use the community edition, very fun. In practice, the community is just enough. The investment, it might mean, on the other hand, it might mean the investment in humans, in learning curve. Those 3 months of headaches that everyone will have. Give it a try. Select some people that are eager to explore something new, someone not very entrenched in NetBeans already, and let the guy play a bit with IntelliJ. This presentation should answer the question. Do you have these features? Right? And these are among the best, right?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And especially that plugin that you shared with the key promoter, that's lifesaver at the beginning when you're learning. So yeah, that was really good. Also, thank you for sharing your community. I've also shared the link in the chat. Please make sure you join the community. It's really, really interesting community. You want to enjoy there. So yeah, thank you so much, Victor. You can go over the chat